glad to be here and see people in person. So I'm so glad, and thank you guys, Sylvester, specifically for asking me to come speak to you. It has been a couple of years, but I was here a few years ago. I recognize some of your faces, so hopefully you remember that. Like all of you, the pandemic has changed so much in all of our lives, right? And so I have a social media marketing agency called Zoetica Media. And Zoetica, we have some very large, medium to large size clients. I also have the social media breakfast that I put on every month, which we have continued to do online much as you have. So we have not gotten back in person, so I'm really excited to see this and know that there's an appetite for it. We'll probably start that back up here in another month or two, online, in person. So that being said, when the pandemic hit, there were a lot of companies that were scrambling to really just stay afloat, right? To figure out what they were going to do next. And I had been planning for a long time, and people had asked me for my advice. They asked me to be their mentor. People keep asking me that. And I thought, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I'm running an agency, right? And so I had been slowly but surely building up an online course because everybody was doing an online course, right? And so I was building up this new online course and kind of dragging my feet, to be really honest with you. I knew I had something to share, but like I saw no urgency, I guess. And as the pandemic started to unfold, I was very close to being done with that course and ready to put it out to the world. And I decided, I was in San Francisco, and we had gone on a family vacation, and it was just before like travel restrictions started. Like literally, we left on Friday from San Francisco, and travel restrictions started on Sunday. So we just got out of there before they started herding people into these big corrals, and like, because you do the travel thing, right? And so I was standing overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge in the park, and I was looking at this huge cruise ship coming into harbor there, and it was the cruise ship at the beginning of the pandemic where all of the people had been stuck on it for 2 weeks where they wouldn't let them come to port. So we were just happened to be there when it came by. And I didn't bring the video today, but I videotaped that ship coming in, literally. And as the ship came in, I just stood on that shore, and there was something inside of me that flipped. I said, I knew the world was about to change. I mean, it was just very clear to me at that very moment that it was going to completely change. And I thought, I need to move up getting that course out because people are going to need it. And so that's exactly what I did. I came back from San Francisco, and I had planned on launching 2 months later, maybe. I launched within 3 weeks of coming back from San Francisco. And I just started it. I just, put it out there. And we had about 20 students and then some people that were helping out. And then I launched it again. So by the time it was done, about 30 students took the course. And they were like every kind of person you can think of, all the way from like a carpet cleaner guy, all the way to like a bus guy, travel bus guy, to like people like you who were had small agencies or solopreneurs. It was just this huge number of people, and we had a great time. It was wonderful. It was just, people got their social media strategy in place. They were getting out there. They were getting seen. They were starting to get results. It was really wonderful, but it was exhausting. And I'll explain to you in a minute what I kind of decided to do instead. So I'm going to move forward. In the middle of all this, as you well know, because you are who you are, we all wear like a gazillion hats, right? This is my son, by the way. This was a couple of years ago. We were actually on vacation, and he took all of our hats and stacked them on top of his head. And so I took this picture. So thank you, Kyler. He's about to graduate from high school now, and he's going into either performing musical theater, or he's already been also accepted at Belmont to be a music composition major. So anyway, he's amazing. But this is a couple of years back. But this hat picture just is exactly how I feel most days. I don't know about you, but this is exactly how I feel. And that's sort of how I felt teaching that course too, because it was just a lot of different kinds of people, and we were like trying to figure out how to get results for all of them. We were talking about this at our table a minute ago. How do you focus in on who you need to focus on? And that's really what social media is about these days. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But first of all, I think you just told us, but which one of these is you? Are you the solopreneur working all by yourself? Raise your hand if you are. This is not rhetorical. Are you working with partners and contractors? Yeah. Are you? And do you have or want a dream team? I have a dream team at this point. Yeah, we're working on it too, right? So I didn't have that for a long time. This April 13th, the day that I got married, marks the 20th year of my solopreneur journey. So I don't recommend getting married and starting your company the same day and moving all the way across the country. Don't. But what it did for me is launched me onto this journey, right? So I have struggled along the way, as I'm sure many of you have. You know, starting working all by myself, scared to hire people, worried I didn't have enough money, all of it, right? And so the journey has been long, and I'm not going to spend too much time on my journey, but I've been able to build a really stable social media marketing strategy. And you know, I started in PR. I was the national spokesperson for the Manufactured Housing Institute. I was the mouthpiece of the trailer industry, okay? I did that for 8 years. So I've done that too. But you know, I have blossomed into this social media area, and all the way through the pandemic, we were rock solid. So having that in my favor, I've been able to stand in that place and say, what can I create that makes sense? So I still wanted to help people, because that's basically my whole motivation in life, right? So I started to think about, what are the main ingredients that you need to have a really solid social media presence? And I also started to think of that in terms of you. How can we have a social media presence that is sustainable, that we as marketing and PR professional solopreneurs, whatever, our group, can do? So I started to think, who do I like working with the most? It's you. I mean, you know, I do. And even my current clients, they're all directors of PR, directors of marketing. That's who I work with, right? So I'm thinking, why am I helping the carpet cleaner? I love him. Really, he was fun. But, and it was fun. But I also wanted to make sure that we were focusing, right? So what do we need as PR professionals to have a social media presence that lifts up our business and that we can do sustainably? And so I started to think about that, and I came up with these 7 steps, and I call it the pathway to mastery. So we just launched this as a actual, you know, month-to-month membership about a month ago. There's 18 of us in there right now. Not selling that today, but I'm just letting you know that that is existing. And I really wanted to come up with those steps. I'm going to really quickly run through the steps that I think you need. I'm going to just give it all to you right now, and then we're going to pause. And we're going to do an exercise, because I want you to leave with something that you can put your hands into right now. Like that you leave from here and you can go and post it on social media. Does this sound good? Yeah. You good for that? Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to do this quick because I don't know, we don't have too much time. Step 1 is the explorer stage, and that's really where you are finding out about you. And what you can offer. So how many of you have already really kind of honed in on exactly who you help in your business? Are you helping multiples of different kinds of people or whatever? Yeah. So that becomes really important. And then also who you are as a person. So what do you have to offer? So right now in social media, everybody cries about the algorithms changing and iOS updates, and I'm sure you've heard all this, right? And part of the reason that's important right now is because the messaging is more important than it has ever been right now. Your messaging is super important. People have to know who you are and what you do so that they can, A, refer you to other people, and B, so that they can see how you could help them. And it's not like, I help you do this, then that. You can say that, but they need to, what you say has to resonate with them. They have to hear what you're saying and think, oh, I need that. I need more of that. And so right now, because you are communicators, you have a huge advantage. You do, if you think about it. The things that you put on social media need to be authentic, less, shouty, I guess, and more authentic. And the more that you can actually connect with the people who are listening to you or who are reading your writing, the more likely it is they're going to want to go deeper with you and find out what it is about you. Or refer you to people that they think you could help. It happens like every day. I was just talking to my table. I get messages like, do you have anybody to recommend that does X, Y, Z? And sometimes I do, but many times I don't. Because I know a lot of people, but I don't necessarily know what they do. Does that make sense? Like I have a lot of, social media friends, but I'm like, what exactly do you do? Like, okay, well, so-and-so, he's really great. He calls himself the happiness guy. I'm like, well, what is that? Like, how can I refer you? Like, what is it that you do? Well, you make people happy. Okay, well, that's awesome. But like, what do you do for money? I don't know. I'm like, money makes me happy. I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, the point is that if I don't know how to refer you, it becomes really difficult. So one of the things we talk about in this level, and I do run my people through this, is I talk about superpowers, like what is your superpower? I have some exercises for all these things. Obviously, we can't do all this today, but what is your superpower? What are your vision and goals? I do this kind of reverse process where you're like out a year from now, and what if you came back and visited yourself? What would you say to yourself about what you did over this year? It's a reverse goal setting process that I put my students through. And then asset archive. How many of you have like white papers, things you've written, all these articles, videos, whatever, just sitting somewhere in your hard drive? Could you use those? Do you go back and use those ever? So I have this whole thing. I have them put into an archive so that you can find them really quickly and you can use them again. Because why recreate stuff if you already created it, right? Or you could just tweak it a little bit and send it out again. So that's one of the things, by the way, about making social media sustainable is having those pieces, like having one big piece. And I'll talk about that in a minute. The step 2 is really what I call connector. So obviously you have to grow your network, right? That's important. That's why you're here today. Yay. But it's more than that. On social media, you have to really understand your clients at a very like heart level. Like what is like driving them? What is the problems they have? And I know you've heard of what keeps them up at night, but it's more than that. It's kind of like not what you think they need, but what they think they need. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So we always are trying to sell them things that we think they need. And they're like, yeah, that's probably good, but it's like broccoli. I should eat more broccoli, but that bread and that looks pretty good. Anyway, but the idea is like, what do they really think they want? So you want to talk to them at that level of what they want and then give them what they need. But you have to get them in the door before you give them what they need. And then when they're in the door, they're all in. They're ready for it. But when you come to them, the reason sometimes they don't move forward is because you're trying to sell them something that you think they need. And they're like, yeah, that would be nice. But that's not really, somehow it's not connecting with them. So if you're having problems with that connection piece is where this is really important. All right, and so I do a lot of exercises around that. I have a word vault, a bunch of stuff, okay? I just want to tell you about the word vault really quick, because I think that's really important, is that I go out and I actually grab people's actual words and I put them into a document. So as I go about and around in social media, instead of like aimlessly wandering around and going, oh, I'm wasting all my time, I will see something and I will like copy it and put it right into my vault. I do it all the time. So I'm just listening to what people say. Like as I'm out there in a Facebook group and on a LinkedIn page, people are saying, oh my gosh, I have like all this trouble with this. I'll pull it and put it in my thing. And I have some ways of organizing that inside of there by category and stuff. But staying organized about listening, like active listening, that's what we do, right? The DIA, the two-way communication model. I think we forget that social media can be used for that. Yeah? And then I also do this thing called the 2x2 method, which is basically taking 15 minutes a day and doing this, going out, interacting with people, doing a little posting, and out. So it's doable in 15 minutes a day. I can teach you how at some point, but I can't do it all today. The third step that you need to do then is architect. So you've explored like what it is who you are as a person, what you bring to the table that makes you different, that makes you stand out. you've now also figured out about your clients and who they are and what their problems are, then the third thing you have to have as an element is obviously a strategic plan. Okay, so that's just, I think you guys all know that. That's not, something you don't know. But really, you're going to have a strategic marketing plan for your business. Here's where we fall down. We as communicators love to help other people. I do too. And we will put our own marketing on the back burner any day of the week at any moment for a client. Raise your hand if that's true. Okay, see, okay, we're getting most of the room there. And that is true. I mean, we will absolutely, I like to say we are the biggest hype machine possible for our clients, but for ourselves, we're like, like that background a little bit. And I know I'm an extrovert, right? So I like being out in public and talking to people, but not everybody's that either, right? But even if you're an extrovert and you're a communicator and you help clients, you often will hide. I've hidden. I'm good at hiding. I don't know about you, but I'm very good at hiding. So I remember, maybe it's my age, but whenever I first got into public relations back in the day, told you, I've been doing this for 20 years, so how old am I? Anyway, back in the day, it was, if you became the story, it was a negative thing, right? So for some of us, this whole out in front thing is odd, to say the least. For the younger generation coming up, it's kind of expected. That's, if you don't show up, it's like you don't exist, right? So they're used to that, and I'm not saying that they like it. Many of them don't. I have a wonderful team, and some of them are, in the young group, and they like to hide too. They would so much rather help clients than be out front. So don't, put them all in the same pot. But they know that it's important, and we have to know that too. So architecting your plan is really important. And again, I do it in a couple of ways. First of all, just figuring out where my dream client is hanging out is really important because you do not have to do all the things. Like if LinkedIn is where they are, you can have other channels, go for it, but you do not have to do all the things all the time. I keep things on life support, For a long time, Instagram, I struggle with Instagram, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like it that much, but everybody's there now, so I'm moving there, and I'm doing it. Hello, I'm doing Instagram. I'll do whatever is necessary. I follow my clients wherever they go. That's what I do. So visibility platform, So then what I tell my students at this point is that this is where you need to just choose where you're going to be, what is going to be your visibility platform, be it LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, YouTube, just pick it. And then you need to commit to putting out, or a blog, it could be a blog too. And then use the blog and put it on LinkedIn, or use the blog and you can blog on LinkedIn. It's super cool. You can do a newsletter on LinkedIn. Those are working really well right now, if you have good content. And so, but I want you to commit to that at least twice a month, and honestly, once a week. Putting out one piece of content, pillar content, or twice a week. And don't fear, we're going to create that content here in just a minute. Okay, you're going to leave with about 10 things you could do right away. Okay, so you'll have ideas for at least the next, let's say, month or two. But if you do that, then everything else is easy because you have this pillar content. You put it in your assets. You turn it into 10 posts. You turn it into you can use one piece of content. Do not constantly create content. You need 1 or 2 pieces of content a month, or a week, or a month. And if you can only do once a month, just do that for now. Just be consistent. Start small, crawl, walk, run method. You want to definitely take it slow. And then you get into the habit. Once you get into a habit, I go on Thursday mornings at 9:30. Before I came here, I go on a live stream every Thursday morning at 9:30. And I talk for somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes, depending on how many people show up. Usually, I try to stick at 15. And I do it every week, and it grows a community around your brand, right? And guess what?
Facebook, or what do you do that?
Oh, I multi-stream. So I have StreamYard, StreamYard.com, and so I have it go to YouTube, I have a LinkedIn streaming account. Not everybody does. LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So it goes to 4 places for me. But you can just go to one. And in fact, maybe it's better if you do, because you'll grow a community that way. You have to decide where your people are hanging out and stick to that. I do it on 4 because I have a team. Yeah, I have a team. And I can do that all at once, and then they take that and they turn it into all kinds of posts, and it's amazing. It's great. And you can do the same without a team too. Like when you have one piece of content, if you have 3 points in your content, 3 to 5 points, then you take that and that's 5 posts. One thing for each, right? And you can like spread those out over the next month. That drives them back to the original content. So it's good. And then brand voice and content keys. I'm not going to go into that now, but understanding your brand voice is really important here. We already talked about that a little bit. So people know who you are. They kind of, and you see I'm all branded today. You don't have to be like this exactly. It took me a while. My husband calls this my bumblebee shirt. He goes, are you going to get on that bumblebee shirt? And I said, yeah, I'm going to go get my bumblebee shirt. I'm in live streaming today. Cool. Then creating. We kind of just went through this a little bit about creating a content machine with one piece of content, right? And so this is where the content machine comes in. Twice a month and preferably once a week. And again, if you can only do once a month, I'm fine with that too, especially if you're alone, right? And then here's how it goes. Quarterly, monthly, and weekly. Here's the plan. Take a picture of it because this is your plan. This is your plan. So every quarter, you're going to set aside time to complete your what I call the cornerstone content creator. On your table, there's a little postcard. If you fill that out, I will send you the content creator. It's just an Excel document, right? Or it's a, what do you call it? Sheets, Google Sheets. You can turn it into an Excel document, but it's just a way for you to keep track of what you're doing next, okay? Like to plan your own social media, not your clients. I mean, you can use it for clients, but please don't sell it because it's mine. But you can use it. But I'm just going to say the content generator is for you to make sure that you are staying on top of your own stuff, okay? So please fill it out, hand the card to me. Actually, this card, I'm just going to tell you something because you're communicators. I was taught about this card by one of my coaches. So I used to go and I'd give you a link and I'd say, take out your phone and sign up for this. What I found out, especially if you go into bigger crowds, if you give out this card, it will convert about 80% of the room. It'll convert about 80% of the room. So if you're speaking somewhere, go old school.
I was going to say, what's old is new.
So I'm just letting you know, because for whatever reason, there's just a barrier with the technology. This works better. So anyway, insider knowledge. But this is what I expect, what I'll send you. So for quarterly, you do that. You set aside to complete this content creator worksheet that I'm going to send you. And then you set aside time to batch that content. So you're going to have really about 4 pieces of content that you're going to want to batch at the same time. So for me, I do it as outlines because I do live streams. I prefer live streams to like sitting in front of a video with no feed. I don't know. It's just easier for me if I know somebody's out there. It makes it easier on me for whatever reason. Some people love to just sit in front of a camera or write a blog post. But what I'll do during this batching time is I'll come up with outlines, like 4 outlines for the whole month. And they're just like, the 3 points I'm going to do, blah, 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 and all of that. It could be, and then you could take another time to write them if they're blog posts. But for me, I do the live stream, and then I write the blog post about the live stream. And then, I embed the video in the blog post, and then we send that blog post out multiple times through all the social medias. And not only that, but we take that and we turn it into an email that you will get once a week, and you'll see what that is. So once I live stream on Thursday, and actually I actually am paying my friend Andrea now to write the blog post, but I would just take it because I already have an outline. I just type it up, right? It doesn't have to be a long blog post, right? It just has to be like sort of what you did. But she does it for me on Friday. Then I edit it, usually on my phone over the weekend. I just add a few things. She also puts it as a little email, and I open up the email and I rewrite the email basically to be me. But she gives me an outline. Right. And then on Monday, the blog post goes live, and on Tuesday I send out the email. That's how it works. And that's what we do week after week. Next week I'm on vacation.
You're constantly giving them things.
Yeah. Next week I'm on vacation, but I have a couple of old videos, so I'm pulling those out when I'm gone, and she's making those, and we'll just make that happen. So I'll still have an email, but so you can bank a bunch of content this way. And then PS, like 2 years from now, I can go back and grab something from the vault that even if I send it out again exactly as I sent it out with the exact same email, you won't remember that email anyway. You'll be like, oh, you just won't. And maybe you didn't open it, you know? I mean, so you can actually create like 2 years worth of content this way, and then like once you have 2 years of content banked, you can start over like every year, and then just make sure you push the stuff aside that's old as you go along. You know, like don't just do it on you know, but you can get to the point where you're pretty much using the same stuff. And if you think, oh, we need to update that, then hey, that becomes your live stream for that week, the update of that thing. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But it's really powerful. And it takes some time, but if you consistently do it, over time you're going to get to the point where it's like easy peasy, you know, whatever. Think about anything you've ever done for a client. It seems really like laborious at first, but after you do it like every week, pretty soon it's like, oh yeah, you can do that in your sleep, right? This is how this becomes too, I promise. And by the way, because you are communicators, content is just so important. You're showing off your content every time you do this and your abilities. And then people will hire you to do it for them. Yeah? Okay, so step 5 is a tractor. You want to create a customer journey for your dream clients. So I don't know about your website, but I can't go into this too much right now because we're running out of time. We started late, but because we leave at 1. But I'm just going to say you need to have some kind of funnel. Right? Okay, you need to have some kind of funnel on your website that gets people into your world, like an email list or whatever, and you need to make it very clear. And we go over that a lot in the course too. You don't need to take it as, oh, you can. I'll take a picture, but I'm not going to go over it right now. And then step 6 is really what I call innovator. That's where you take all of this and you grow and scale it. That's when you hire your dream team and you do all the things that you need to do to make this happen. That's kind of the step I'm in, if you want to say that, for this. And then that's it. So what happens after that is at innovator stage, you are going to end up creating this thing that just lives, you know, with or without you, kind of. And it's a really wonderful way for your business to be sustainable. And then you're in front of people all the time. People say to me all the time, like, you're everywhere. I create 1 piece of content a week. I'm not everywhere. I create 1 piece of content a week. That's it. All right, that being said, I know we have to go, but are you overwhelmed yet? Okay, good. So in front of you is your paper. Fold your paper in half. Let's do this because I want to make sure you have this before you leave. It's not going to take that long. Really won't. Okay, so on one side of the paper, I want you to put the main things that you sell. Like the main things you're good at. Like, are you great at writing? What are you great at? Like, give me like 2 or 3 things you're great at. Oh, I have pens. Here. Does anybody need a pen? I brought a few, in case you need them.
Thanks.
Anybody else need a pen? All right, so once you have 2 or 3 things that you're great at on one side, I also want you to flip it over, and I want you to write 2 or 3 things that you're passionate about. Could be personal things, so that's on one side of the paper and the other. So let me show you. I should have pulled that out. Hold on. Just fold it in half. And on one side, you're going to write your things that you're great at. And on the other side, you're going to write the things that you're passionate about. Toot-toot, toot-toot. So that when you open it up, they're on either side. So you can see them. OK, cool. Got it? You did a great job. Can I show them?
Sure.
Like that.
Oh, fun. Wait, what?
So on one side, you write the things.
What being passionate about.
Yeah, because you're going to write your actual content stuff in the middle. All right, good. You're good. We'll get there. So for some of you that are already done, I'm going to tell you what to do next. You're going to open it up, and you're going to take on one side the thing that you're good at and the thing you're passionate about, and you're going to say, let's see, I'm going to use you as an example. Writing and your spiritual life, right? Mm-hmm. So come up with a content idea for how you can put those 2 together.
Okay.
Like put it in the middle here, between the 2.
Right.
Okay? And then you're going to take your writing and your family, and you're going to give another idea.
Okay.
And then you like organizing. Oh, that's awesome. I need an organizer. You need organizing and spiritual life. What would you talk about there? And then you take organizing and family, and how would you do it there?
Okay.
That's already 4 pieces of content you could write. Now take,
Well, that's really just 2. But
right, so take those 2 things, and you had organizing and writing about meditation. Meditation and organizing. And then I want you to come up with, on this side, the 10 things that they need to know about that. What are the 10 things, or 5 things, because we only have that much time right now.
Okay.
5 things that they need to know about meditation.
okay.
And
They're
and,
really
and
good.
could you and is it writing and meditation? Like, so can you meditate while you're writing? I mean,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Okay.
what are the 5 things they need to know about that?
Okay.
Same thing for this. So somebody who's like stuck, tell me. I'll show you what to do.
Yeah, I didn't do this right, so don't copy me.
No, it's okay. You can do it any way you want. Did you have the 2 things you're passionate about?
Yes.
Okay. So how this works is you'll say writing and existing. So you editing. I'm sorry. Existing is good too. And then you're passionate about writing too. So why don't you tell me write down here the 5 things they need to know about editing and writing.
Okay.
And then you're going to say, what are the 5 things they need to know about writing and editing, and what is this?
Adoption issues. My daughter and adoption issues.
Okay. So think about that. Like, what are 5 things you could tell them about that you've learned about that, about writing through that? Do you see what I'm trying to say? So just 5 of those and 5 of those. And then you do the same thing for this.
Okay.
And it may be the same thing, but you'll end up with 10 things that you could write about
Okay.
or talk about.
Okay. Thanks.
Is anybody stuck? Yeah, I want to teach one person at each table, and you teach the others, okay?
Anybody volunteer? Want to be taught? I'm stuck.
Okay. Can I start with you?
Yeah, I feel like I didn't have the next step because I was focused
That's okay.
on what I'm
So
supposed to be doing.
here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
These are the things you're good at, right?
No, these are the things.
Okay. So I want you to take this, and what does this say?
Sustainability.
Okay. Investor communications and sustainability.
Sure.
What are the 5 things they need to know about investor relations and sustainability?
Okay, that's easy enough.
Right, so write that down. And then you take sustainability and whatever this is,
Branding.
same thing. What are the 5 things they need to, that's separate? So you want to write each one separately.
Got it.
And I'll come and help you guys too. Anybody else need help? Oh yeah, absolutely. Was that not working? Yeah, these are old, so good luck. Hopefully that will work. And it may have like a little bit of wax on the end. You probably have to take that off. Maybe not. Yeah, no. It may, if they don't work, I'm sorry. I'll find another pen that does. Okay, cool. They were like pre-pandemic pens. Sorry, guys. Like I used to bring pens to all my like speaking gigs, and I'm like, I only have like 7 to 8 pens left. I'm like, they're old. They're like 2 years old. So can I help you?
Yeah, so like I started here.
Helping people in planning a strategy.
Yeah, so doing
So
that.
how do you help people plan a strategy? Give me the 5 things you need to know about that.
Okay.
What 5 things do they need to know to do that?
Okay.
Like if you were telling somebody how to do it.
Okay.
Well, yeah. By the way, this gets easier as you go along. Do you need help?
Well, it's just, because one of the things I said I was passionate about is teaching others communication skills. That really doesn't work to be combined with this as a thing people need to know. This is what this is gonna be. Know what I mean?
Okay, so writing and teaching people communication skills. So what do people need to know about, like, if you were teaching them about,
Teaching communication skills, that's what I was like, do
Right.
I wanna teach them about teaching them?
yes.
Okay.
So write 5 things down that what you would do. Like, so if they had to do it themselves, what would they need to do?
Okay, got it.
The problem is when you tell people how to do it themselves, generally speaking, they'll come back to you to help them do it.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions? Can I help you? No?
Not me.
Do you understand the task? Okay, yeah.
Then it's giving me like a blog, or it's like a.
It gives you, yeah, exactly. And what's cool about the 5, I'll just say this out loud. What's cool about coming up with the 5 things they need to know about this thing is that it could be a series too. Like you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then at the end you could do a wrap up. So that's 6 pieces of content. You know, and then all of that like cross references each other. So that's like a really simple way to get like a huge, SEO, which is search engine optimization. They're looking for what you're good at. They're like, oh, he's really good at like writing and this and that, whatever. And that, so if you have a body of work about that particular topic, you're going to show up better in search. So there it is. Is it overwhelming? Sorry. He's like, no. I'm going to go backwards here. Oh, yeah, that was that. So, for example, for me, I could talk about how you explore yourself and come up with 5 to 10 things about that, right? I could come up with 5 or 10 things that you need to know about connection and connecting. I could come up with 5 or 10 things to know about architecting. The reason I put your passions in there is because I want you to show up as a person. Do you understand why I put that in there? I want you to show up as a person, not as like, yeah. So I'm being told to wrap it up. But that is what we do. So if you want to stay for a minute longer and finish, I'm happy to help you. But definitely bring me your card, and I will send you the content generator, and you can use that. But definitely keep in contact with me. Once you're on my list, you can definitely unsubscribe at any time. Don't worry. But I do ask people to like, what do you think about this? So I'm always there. Just respond to any of my emails, and I'm like ears wide open. So is that good? Are you guys good? Yeah. Yay, good. Okay, cool. So is there any feedback questions? Yeah.
Jamie Rohr, by the way, told me to tell you hello, and she's sorry she couldn't.
Oh,
and
yay.
to tell everybody in the room that you are terrific.
Oh,
She sung your praises at one of our Zoom meetings.
I love her so much. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to be like, you are so cool. Anyway, thank you.
Lady Gaga.
Oh yes, if you want to hear the Lady Gaga story, I will tell you afterwards. Come on, talk to me. It was really cool. It was really cool. Oh, sure, I can tell you. So I've been, by popular demand, I'm coming back for an encore. So what happened was, it was a couple years back, like quite a few at this point, maybe 8, I don't know. We were we got a call from Lady Gaga's team because they were trying to figure out how to give out we did a lot of nonprofit work. I've done a lot of nonprofit, and they wanted to know how to give out. She had a bunch of money that she wanted to give in New York, and she wanted to understand like who should she give it to. And so they pulled a team of us together to talk through all of the communications challenges, what people would think. All that. So we actually had this really cool team that we came up with a way for her to invest her money into nonprofits in New York. It was really cool. Yeah, it was really fun. So yeah, I mean, I was like, Lady Gaga, I mean, wow, okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Sure. Well, that sounds like fun. No, it was just her team, right? So yeah, no.
What did she invest in?
Well, she did she wanted to know, like she had LGBTQ teen stuff, and she also wanted to do some other things too, like she also did some things with, what do you call it, Broadway, like kind of, actors and stuff like that, but disadvantaged. Do you know what I'm saying? So she wanted to like figure out like how she would because everybody came wanting the money. That was the problem. She had put out this thing saying she was going to do it. That's really what the problem was, that she had like this outpouring of all these nonprofits that wanted her help. And so we came up with an elegant solution, like that it would only be in these buckets. Like she's like, I care about this, this, and this. Right. And then we came up with a method that was, she didn't have a method. She just announced it before there was anything in place.
As these Broadway stars have.
Well, I mean, as rock stars do, right? So, I mean, she just announced it before it. So we had to come up with a process. That's all. So we came up with buckets, like, what are your passions? Just like what we're doing here, like, what are your passions? And then we came up with a Google Doc, where the people had, they had to do a certain thing. And we came up with criteria for what those had to be, like what was the need, how many people did they help, all that kind of stuff. So we came up with a process for them.
You reverse engineered it.
Yeah, we reverse engineered it. It was interesting, but it was fun. It was really fun. And then a lot of really cool nonprofits got support. So it was cool. And I thought it was a lot better because we were really afraid she was afraid too. She'd give it to somebody and she would just end up in like a negative PR situation, which she didn't. So it was cool. And we work with the Robin Hood Foundation to kind of put it together as well. So it was cool. It was very fun. Anyway, that's the story. All right, guys, take care.
I'm not kicking you off. I just wanted to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Did you get your food?
Yes, yeah, they put it right here. Thank you.
Yeah, but then I'll go home tomorrow.
Thank you.
We're staying for the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So what do you guys think about like this exercise? Was it overwhelming or do you think it's good for you?
Oh, I think it's very helpful.
Okay, good.
And it was good to be able to like realize that we already have things, you know, that we're thinking about. We just haven't used them in a positive way.
Yeah. So yeah, having things you've already thought about that you didn't use in a positive way, I think that's really good. Because you guys have so much content. You guys are great at what you do. That I know to be true. Everybody in this room is like an expert in something, right? But I think we forget that and we kind of discount. So that's why I call it the superhero process, which I couldn't take you all the way through. But knowing what your superhero power is, I mean, mine is speed. I'm Flash. But yeah, that's really what it is. But I feel like understanding that about yourself and the thing that you think is just common sense is usually the thing that is your superpower. Because you're like, and if it makes you angry. So like if something happens and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. Like, did they not have one PR person in the room when they made that decision? That's your superpower. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, just know that about yourself. Anyway, take care. Thank you.